Hello and welcome to Lauren's English Corner. Today's lesson has been requested by one of our viewers, Asuda Rashid. Now they wanted to know about reported speech. What is reported speech? Now, reported speech could be covered in quite a few lessons, but I'm going to try and give a brief overview of what is reported speech and give some examples that you can use. Reported speech is when we are talking about what somebody else has said to someone else or to us, or when we're talking about something that we've said previously. In direct speech, I am talking directly to the person. So like now I'm talking to you, the viewer, the listener, and this is direct speech. In writing, direct speech would be shown by quotation marks, speech marks. So it would say, Lauren said to her neighbour, "Oh, I'm just going to the shops. I'm just going to the shops." And that would be written in speech marks. If it was reported speech in writing, there would be no speech marks. It would say, Lauren said that she was going shopping. So when would we use reported speech in writing? Well, often it's used in reporting in newspapers, stories where they are putting quotes or letting us know what other people have said about the news story. Now, how do we change direct speech into reported speech? How do we use reported speech? Well, the first thing, the main verbs that are used are the verbs say and tell. Now these are used in the past because what has been spoken was in the past. So we would say said and told. So this person said, or this person told me, or somebody else. So that's the first part of reported speech. The next thing that needs to change is obviously the pronoun. So let's look at an example. If my friend Peter says in direct speech, "I'm not feeling well, I think I'm going to go home." I'm not feeling well, I think I'm going to go home. Now the direct speech, people use I and we. So Peter says, "I'm not feeling well." However, if I was to use the reported speech, later on in the party somebody says to me, "Where's Peter?" I could say, "Oh, Peter said that he wasn't feeling well, so he's gone home," or "he left." So Peter said he wasn't feeling well, so he's gone home. So here the I has to change to he for Peter. And likewise, if it was a friend who is a woman, Sarah, for example, then it would have to change to she. Sarah said that she. If it was plural, a group of people, for example, children, the children could say to the mum, "Mum, we want to go to the park." "Mum, we want to go to the park." In the reported speech, perhaps mum talking to the dad could say, they, the children, they wanted to go to the park. So the children said that they wanted to go to the park. So that's the first thing that needs to change, the pronoun. If you noticed in the examples, the other thing that changed was the verb. In the direct speech examples, the verb is in the present tense. I'm not feeling well. I am not feeling well. And we want to go to the park. Want. But in the reported speech, those two verbs were changed to the past form. So I said, Peter said that he wasn't feeling well. So instead of am, was. And in the other example, the children wanted to go to the park. They wanted to go to the park. Instead of want, it became wanted. Now, the only time that the pronoun wouldn't change is if you were talking about what you yourself had said earlier and you were using I. So, for example, you could earlier in the day say to your boyfriend, "I think things aren't working. I think we should break up." And then later, when you're talking to your friend about it, you might use reported speech and say, I told my boyfriend I wanted to break up this morning. So in this case, the I stays the same. But in most cases, we use reported speech to talk about what somebody else has said. So therefore, we need to change the pronoun to he, she, or they. If you notice as well, in these sentences, I've used the word that. Peter said that he wasn't feeling well. And the children said that they wanted to go to the park. This that can be omitted. You can say Peter said he wasn't feeling well. The children said they wanted to go to the park. So it's not necessary to always say that. You can use it or you can leave it out. But you will notice people using that when they use reported speech. Now, we said that the verb needs to change to the past form, and in most cases with reported speech, that's what happens. There are some instances where you don't need to change the verb into the past form. It can stay in the present. And this is the case when the action is not finished. So it means that the action or the situation is still true, or the action itself is not finished. So an example could be, your friend Paul has got a new job. So in direct speech, he says to you, "Oh, I really like my new job. It's really interesting." Now, you could tell somebody else that Paul said that his job is really interesting. Paul said that his new job is really interesting. So the is hasn't changed. It's still present because the job is still interesting. Nothing has changed. The situation is the same. Or if we were talking about a party at the weekend and somebody earlier in the week said to you, "I don't think I can go to the party," or "I'm not going to the party this weekend," you could say, "Sarah said that she's not going to the party," or "Sarah said she thinks she's not going to the party." In both of these cases, thinks and isn't, that we don't change the verb. It stayed in the present because the party hasn't happened yet. It's at the weekend. You can, though, when you're using reported speech, it wouldn't be incorrect to say it in the past tense. So, for example, Sarah said that she wasn't going to the party this weekend. Or Paul said that his new job was really interesting. This would not be incorrect. You can change it into the past form, is to was, and isn't to wasn't. But it would still be correct if you were to say it in the present form. However, if the action is finished, then it definitely has to be said in the past. And we also have to use the past if what was said appears to be different from the truth. So, for example, if your friend told you that Claire is in hospital, but then you see Claire when you're out shopping, you would say to her, "Oh, Andrew told me that you were in hospital." "Oh, hi Claire, Andrew told me that you were in hospital." So the is in hospital changes to were. You were in hospital, because in this instance it appears to be not true, as Claire is out shopping, so she can't be in hospital. So as a general rule, most of the time reported speech would be in the past form of the verb. But there are instances where you can keep it the same if the action has not finished yet. So what else do we need to know about reported speech? Well, at the beginning I said that the two main verbs that we use are said and told. In all the examples I've used so far, I've used said. Now, when do we use told? Well, if we are talking about who the person spoke to, then you would say told. For example, Fred told me he was going to America. So Fred told me he was going to America. Or Amy told the police she didn't see anything. Amy told the police that she didn't see anything. So in these instances, I've talked about who the person was talking to. First, they were talking to me, and in the second example, they were talking to the police. So in these examples, we must use the verb told and say who they were talking to. If we don't mention who they were talking to, then we just use said. Fred said he was going to America. Amy said she didn't see anything. Okay. Now, another point that we can talk about with reported speech is where the verb, instead of changing it into the past, and instead of just keeping it the same, we add to. So we use the word to and then the verb in the infinitive. Now we use this if it is instructions. If somebody has asked us to do something or told somebody to do something. An example could be some advice from the doctor. So the doctor gives you a prescription and tells you to take some tablets 3 times a day. The doctor would say to you, please take these tablets 3 times a day. Please take these tablets 3 times a day. So this is instructions. Now, if I was to then tell somebody else about the doctor's advice, I would say, the doctor told me to take these tablets 3 times a day. The doctor told me to take these tablets 3 times a day. So I used the to and the verb take in the infinitive, so to take. Another example could be your friend's told you a secret and she says, please don't tell anyone. Please don't tell anyone else what I've said. So if later on you are asked about the secret or asked about your conversation, you could say, she told me not to tell anyone. She told me not to say anything. So to say, to tell. This is because, again, it was instructions. It was something that you were asked to do. So in these situations, the reported speech becomes to plus the infinitive. So I hope that has helped Asuda in your question about reported speech. I know there's still quite a lot of possible variations that might come up, but in general, that's the sort of main rules that we need to know when using reported speech. What we can do now, just for the last part of the lesson, is I'll give you a few sentences and I'll say the sentence in direct speech, and then let's see if you can change it into the correct form for the reported speech. So here we go. So in all these examples, the person talking is called Andrew. So you're going to have to use he when you make your reported statements. Okay, so imagine Andrew is saying this. I can't wait for my holiday next week. It's going to be great. I can't wait for my holiday next week. It's going to be great. Now you try. Turn that into reported speech. How did you do? Well, there are 2 variations for this one. If the holiday is already finished, then you could, or he's on his holiday, so next week has come, then you would say, Andrew said that he couldn't wait until his holiday. It was going to be great. Or if the holiday still hasn't happened, so it's still the week before, then you could say, Andrew said he can't wait until his holiday next week. It's going to be great. Andrew said that he can't wait until his holiday next week. It's going to be great. Okay, let's try the next one. I'm sorry, officer. I didn't see who took the bag. I'm sorry, officer. I didn't see who took the bag. Now your turn. How did you do? Well, hopefully you noticed that I used the word officer, which is another name for a policeman. So in the reported speech, you could say, Andrew told the policeman that he didn't see who took the bag. Andrew told the policeman he didn't see who took the bag. Let's have another try. Can you be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate. Can you please be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate. Okay, so how did you do? In this case, it was a request. He was asking someone to be quiet. So you needed to use the to and the infinitive in the reported speech form. So it would be, Andrew said to be quiet. Or Andrew told the children to be quiet because he was trying to concentrate. Andrew told the children to be quiet. So the last example, I really like watching Lauren's English Corner videos. It helps me improve my English. I really like watching Lauren's English Corner YouTube videos. It helps me improve my English. Okay, so how would we put that into reported speech? Well, we could use the past form and say, Andrew said that he really liked listening to Lauren's English Corner videos. It helped him improve his English. Andrew said that he really liked listening to Lauren's English Corner YouTube videos. It helped him improve his English. Or because the viewing of the Lauren's English Corner videos is still current, it hasn't changed, you could use the present. So you could say, Andrew said that he really likes watching Lauren's English Corner videos. It helps him improve his English. Andrew said that he really likes watching Lauren's English Corner videos. It helps him improve his English. I hope you did well on your examples and keep trying and keep practicing. Thanks for watching and don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. And please feel free to request any lessons that you would be interested in seeing. Thanks again and see you next time.